Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International for Thursday, the 25th of September 2025. And we're on to program number 1456 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. In addition to 101.1 FM radio, you can also get us at our website. That is rcistlucia.com, rcistlucia.com. You can, of course, also download our previous shows on that platform. And we are also streaming live on Facebook. You just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International. In a little while, we'll be speaking with two individuals, two sisters, who are the daughters of the late Mr. Roderick Walcott, Kerry and Heather Walcott, and they are here in St. Lucia visiting. And we're going to be speaking about the legacy of Roddy Walcott, of course, the twin brother to Sir Derek Walcott. But that'll be coming up in just a bit. But, of course, we want to take in some history for today. We go way back to the year 1066. Many have heard about the Battle of Hastings in England, but there was actually a battle just before that on this day, and the Battle of Stamford Bridge, where the English army of Harold Godwinson, or Harold II, the king at the time, defeated an invading army of Norwegians led by King, another Harold Hardrada, and his brother Tostig, who were killed in that battle. In the year 1513, Spanish explorer Vasco Núñez de Balboa crossed the Isthmus of Panama, becoming the first European to see the Pacific Ocean. 1789, the first U.S. Congress proposed the Bill of Rights, a set of amendments to the Constitution guaranteeing essential liberties, including freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and the right to peaceful assembly. In the year 1906, on this day, Leonardo Torres Quevedo successfully demonstrated the telequino in Bilbao, that's in the north of Spain, and that was before a large crowd guiding a boat from the shore, and that is generally considered to be the birth of remote control. 1926, on this day, Henry Ford announced an 8-hour, 5-day work week for workers at Ford Motor Company. And on this day, 1981, Sandra Day O'Connor was sworn in as the first female U.S. Supreme Court Justice. We now head across to our dish of the day.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to our program here today. And this morning, in fact, I attended a press conference which was hosted by the top brass of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and Commissioner of Police, Mr. Vern God. He has been at the helm of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force for a year now, and this actual press conference was really a look into the figures, into the statistics of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force for the year up to September the 24th, so from January the 1st to September the 24th, 2025, with a number of comparatives looking at the previous year, the same period, January to September 24th of the year 2024. And according to the data in terms of serious crime in St. Lucia, the island has seen a drop of 16% year on year between those two periods, from 2024, the first 3 quarters of 2024, and then this this year, that same period, a 16% drop. And that represents a shift from 12,522 reported crimes in 2024 for that period, and that number going down to 10,557 for that same period. The police also have had upticks in detection rates. In terms of how this has panned out, in terms of the types of offenses that we generally look at, well, pretty much in the 8 categories that are looked at, they have seen drops in nearly every one, in 7 out of the 8 of these offense categories. Sexual offenses down from 164 to 121 in the year 2025. Stealing, that was from a person, that is down slightly, just by 1. It's pretty much staying flat, 184 down to 183. Theft of motor vehicles, also down significantly from 59 in 2024 down to 38 in 2025. Narcotics cases, 247 in 2024, down to 213 in 2025. Robberies are also down from 169 to 120 in 2025. Burglaries, interestingly enough, pretty steep drop from 449 burglaries in the year 2024 down to 271 in the year 2025. The one matter that is definitely up is firearm offenses. 241 were recorded in 2024, up to 250, an increase of 9 in firearm offenses in the year 2025. And in the case of murders, up to September the 24th, comparing those 2 periods again, as at September 24th, 2024, there were 58 murders. And as at September 24th, 2025, there have been 57 homicides or murders for the year 2025. So just pretty much almost the same in that regard. Although the number of homicides are just slightly below, or pretty much tracking the same, the number of attempted murders is actually up. And explanation was given regarding that matter, and it is to some degree how the RSLPF are in fact categorizing the matter of attempted murder. So previously it may have been classified as a grievous harm or something of the sort, and they're also now including this matter of attempted murder. So a steep rise in attempted murders from 20 to 41, certainly giving an indication of the extent of violent crimes being perpetrated out there. Whereas we saw, I think maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, that the south of the island was seeing the bulk of homicides. That was certainly a rarity and not the norm. And so, in fact, the city and areas around the city, the central division, as it is being classed within the RSLPF, in fact represents 51% of homicides for the year 2025. Other interesting matters, of course, in terms of the detection rate, 18 of those 57 have been detected. Effectively, individuals have been charged in those matters. Of course, a very interesting question was asked, and I think very rightfully so, that although you have that number of 18 being detected or effectively solved, you do have in many instances some of the perpetrators themselves being victims of homicide. And so, in fact, what was very telling within the data coming out of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force was that 27 of the 57 homicides were related to gangs, gang related. And an additional 8 of the 57 homicides were reprisals. Now, a lot of the gang related matters are reprisals, but in addition to those which can be classed clearly between warring gangs, there are additional reprisal killings that may be as a result of domestic issues or what have you, and are classed kind of separately and apart from the gang-related reprisals. So effectively, if you put it all together, that 34 or so, 35 homicides related to gangs and reprisals, that represents 3 out of 5 of all the homicides in St. Lucia. A relatively small number is tied to domestic violence, 4 out of the 57 relating to domestic violence situations. 11 not classed at all for the moment. Not clear as to precisely what the motives were. And also 7 as a result of some altercation of this or the sort. Robberies, no homicides linked to robberies. And certainly, generally speaking, there's been, as has been shown in the data, a significant drop in the number of robberies and burglaries and theft for that same period up to September 24th, 2025. More data coming from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force indicates that most of the weapons utilized in homicides have been related to firearms. In fact, 44 out of the 57 were related to firearms in this instance. An increase, however, in sharp objects with respect to this year. So whereas in last year, it was 7 homicides using sharp objects, this year, 2025, 10 objects. So there was actually a fall in firearms being utilized in the case of murders, but certainly for the main, firearms still are by far the leading weapon being utilized in homicides. In terms of the profiles of the victims, well, no surprise that the vast majority of homicide victims are male. And 54 out of the 57 homicide victims thus far for the year are male. The highest in terms of age range is within that age group of 21 to 30. And in that instance, about 28 of those individuals who were killed or victims of homicide are in fact within that age group, which is again perhaps no surprise to the many other persons. Almost half of all those individuals are within that age group. And of course, some of them are also even younger than that. 4 out of the 57 homicides were between the ages of 11 and 20. So certainly our young people are the ones who, and our young males in particular, have been the greatest victims of homicides in St. Lucia. Generally speaking, thus far, the worst month on record for this year has been the month of September, the month that we are currently in. Whereas last year, February was in fact the worst month on record. It was we saw 12 homicides in the month of February 2024. This year, we've seen a significant shooting up of homicides for the month of September. In fact, more than double what was experienced last September 2024. So it's, of course, still within the month of September, and we're going to be watching and waiting to see how things pan out in that regard. Now, the police have also made the point of significant impacts in terms of seizures and police operations. And in fact, when they compared last year, for example, 51 weapons were seized. This year, the number is 94. So nearly double in terms of the number of seizures of weapons. In the case of ammunition, very interestingly enough, the police were able to seize 4,856 live rounds of ammunition thus far for the year 2025. That is undoubtedly a record in terms of seizures of ammunition. You would have to go back to the year 2022, the next highest on record, which was 3,009. And just to give you a comparison in terms of what we're seeing in terms of these types of seizures, if you go back to 2016, there were 70 live rounds seized by the police. 2017, 470. 2018, 479. 2019, 634. 2020, 1,484. 2021, 1,920. 2022, which we just mentioned, 3,009. Came down in 2023 to 703. 2024, 1,267. A significant rise, nearly 4 times what was collected in 2024. Now, for 2025, 4,856 rounds of ammunition seized by the police. So certainly some significant gains there in terms of their efforts. And overall, in terms of police operations, that too showing a significant rise in the performance of the police, indicating there that they have in fact been able to undertake significant numbers of increases in police operations. Intelligence-led operations moved from 202 to 243 in the year 2025 against 2024. Tactical unit operations pretty much doubled. In 2024, there were 121 tactical unit operations. In 2025, 216. Counter-narcotic operations, pretty much almost the same, with a bit of an increase this year by 5, up to 76 for the year 2025. Search warrants saw a significant increase, moving from 315 to 534. Traffic checks went up by nearly half, moving from 436 in 2024 to 613 traffic checks in 2025. And ticketing, traffic tickets, that went up very steeply from 5,252 to 13,502 traffic tickets being issued by the RSLPF, most of them in the Castries, Grosley area. The Commissioner of Police did mention that the what is formerly the Traffic Department, it has now been renamed the Department for Road Safety, and they in fact have seen some improvements in the matter of road safety on our roads. In fact, last year, for the same period, there were 20 road fatalities. For the year thus far, there have been 10. So a significant drop in the number there. It's dropped by half. Serious collisions have also come down, 241 in the year 2024, down to 189 serious collisions in 2025. And of course, overall, as well, minor collisions also down from 1876 to 1591. The spread of those fatalities largely in the north of the island. Those 10 fatalities, we've seen the Julian R. Hunt Highway, 1 fatality, Millennium Highway, 1 fatality, Nelson Mandela Drive at VG, another fatality there, the John Compton Highway, Darling Road, the Bexar Highway, or those that have seen fatalities in the north of the island, but also there have been some others at Bruceville in VA4 on that promenade there. There was an incident which led to a fatality, as well as Deriso, Miku, Lafargue, Choiseul, and the St. Jude Highway in VA4. But generally, a reduction in fatalities, and the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is contributing that to greater police presence on the roads. The commissioner mentioning that 45 additional police officers have been added to effectively double the size of the Department of Road Safety, and those individuals have all been trained in the use of police motorbikes, which in fact has meant that they've been able to augment the numbers of police on bikes and on patrol on the island's roads. So generally a pretty positive image coming out of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, indicating that they have significantly ramped up operations, efforts in terms of search warrants, in terms of being active on the ground. The point also being made that the RSLPF is utilizing technology in terms of its crime management, in terms of the use of CCTV cameras. The commissioner making mention of over 800 CCTV cameras operating currently across the island. And in fact, they are making a significant impact in terms of the detection of crime and identifying individuals, leading to arrests. He also made mention of other types of technology being utilized in terms of handling witness statements and in real time, improving the criminal investigations department. He did make mention of overall of the impact of the numbers, the increase in the human resource base of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. In fact, he indicated that according to their records, there are now 1,248 police officers, as well as special police constables within the RSLPF. And he indicated that that figure is going up as a result of the increased numbers of individuals who have been trained. Of course, there was a batch, as we know, from last year, December, of 18 new police officers. We've seen about 56 new police rangers. We've seen new police special constables, another batch of 80 police officers to leave the police training academy in December of this year. And he'd made mention that another batch will in fact be heading in for training in the new year as well. So indicating that the overall plan is to augment the force by an additional 250 officers. So certainly making the point as well that although there are attrition challenges within the force, there is a net gain in terms of the numbers of officers getting into this on the streets and being part of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. So a lot of information shared this morning. That was the data, but also updates were provided with respect to some of the very controversial, perhaps, and topical matters that have been in the news. One of them being the matter of police K9 Tyson, whose funeral was not too many days ago down at VA4. And according to what was stated by Mr. Luke De Freitas of the RSLPF, the toxicology report coming back from the forensic laboratory has not shown any signs of rat bait poisoning. And what he indicated was that additional testing will be undertaken to, in fact, find out whether there was any other form of potential poisoning or any poisoning by other means, whether through the use of lead or heavy metals or other materials, so that matter regarding the issue of how Tyson in fact succumbed would be thoroughly investigated. So, but as of now, the suggestion regarding the matter of rat bait poisoning has, according to thus far the evidence, the toxicology assessment that has been done by the forensic laboratory, has indicated that that is not the case. There was also an update on the matter of evidence, and of course we did hear from the commissioner some time last, when he last was part of a press conference prior to going on vacation, indicating that there were concerns regarding evidence in two cases. He has indicated that in one of those cases, with respect to Shakadan Daniel, which has been a cold case for quite some time, he did indicate that there were issues of evidence dating, I think, as far back as 2018-19. And from what he is indicating, that there have been thorough searches regarding this matter on more than one occasion, and that, in fact, the evidence that was believed to have been missing has been found. But there are, in fact, going to be some further investigations involving some level of DNA analysis into that matter to, in fact, verify who may have come across or who would have actually touched the evidence at all, to see if that there could be some cross-referencing there to determine what is going on in that matter. So I hope that clears and helps in terms of clarification on the matter of policing here in St. Lucia. But of course, we'll have to take up maybe questions on that some other time, maybe tomorrow, because we're going to have to take in our weather news at this time. And then when we come back, we're going to be speaking with the daughters of the late Roderick Walcott.
This has been The Daily Dish.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with these tile stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle-dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my #1 store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and View Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And that's all, of course, on the 1.1. It's now time for your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Tile and Bath. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours will be blowing from between the east and southeast near 12 miles per hour or 19 kilometers per hour, becoming lighter at times. The weather, fair skies, becoming cloudy at times with a few showers. The forecast for the Lesser Antilles: occasionally cloudy skies with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms over the northern Windward and Leeward Islands. Elsewhere, fair to partly cloudy with a few showers. The tropical weather outlook: an area of low pressure is expected to develop from a tropical wave located in the vicinity of the Greater Antilles. This system is likely to become a tropical depression within the next couple of days. At 11 a.m. today, the center of tropical storm Humberto was located near latitude 21.4 degrees north and longitude 56.8 degrees west, or about 600 miles or 965 kilometers northeast of St. Lucia. Humberto is moving towards the northwest near 8 miles per hour or 13 kilometers per hour. Maximum sustained winds are near 50 miles per hour or 85 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. Humberto is expected to become a hurricane in a day or so and a major hurricane this weekend. Tropical storm Humberto is not expected to affect the Lesser Antilles. Also, a tropical wave located over the central tropical Atlantic is moving westward near 15 miles per hour or 24 kilometers per hour. And this has been your weather forecast as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bath.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with the style stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my number one store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and View Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
There is a rose in Spanish Harlem. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. If you like pina coladas and getting caught in the
We're back on Sunday, October 5th, the night before the holiday. We're heading to the Pavilion in Rodney Bay for the Big People Party. Big People Party. The Sparkle and Denim Edition. Big People Party, the Sparkle and Denim Edition. It's old school, and we're turning it up. Music by Hyper D, Rusty Ranks, Shortman, Play in HD, and Sly Eli. Tickets are $60 and are available at RCI, LaSalle Boulevard, and Baywalk Mall. Pay more at the door. On Sunday, October 5th, it's Big People Party at the Pavilion in Rodney Bay. The night before the holiday. Lottie Dottie, see you at the party.
welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Sorry for that long break. We were enjoying the weather outside. It looks like there's a very interesting, what almost looks like a tornado, but like some sort of water spout, perhaps. Not too sure. It might be over the sea, might be over the harbor. Can't quite tell as yet, but I'm sure there'll be lots of reporters out there taking lots of videos of it. Right here in St. Lucia, never a dull moment. And speaking of that, of course, maybe you guys have brought the weather with us, some wonderful Canadian weather with us, and we are so pleased to have here with us in studio here at the lunchroom the daughters of the late Roderick Walcott, Heather and Kerry Walcott, and his wife as well. Stella is here as well for moral support. Thank you so very much for joining us here at the lunchroom to share, of course, the significance and legacy of your dad and what he's done for St. Lucia. Thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Happy to be here again.
Now, you guys have been out of the country for a little while, but of course, the name Walcott, the name Roddy and Derek are very, very well known by a lot of St. Lucians, particularly perhaps those of the older generation. And there is another generation now, the Gen Zs, and who may not so very well know the work and the contribution of your father, your uncle, the entire family here in St. Lucia. I don't even know where to begin. Maybe we need to begin with growing up, I suppose, as children of Roddy Walcott. Was there some sort of awareness of what your dad represented when you were growing up as kids here in St. Lucia?
We had no idea. You know, it's because I think both of us were introduced to color, texture, very, very young. You know, we knew how to blend colors at a very young age. You know, just on a surface level, mixing yellow with orange and all these other colors just to get a foundation and things like that. And but we were always introduced to international storytelling, which is very much part of any culture. But storytelling was very huge in our family, not just at bedtime, but during the day.
What kind of stories did he tell?
Aesop fables. A lot of stuff. It wasn't just related to just Caribbean culture itself, but just international, whether it was Greek and Roman, storytelling, as well as the fables and Aesop, and anything where there's a moral compass to it, or foundation, or lessons learned. Those were really, really, really good. And then, of course, later on, Heather can speak of it a little bit more, but in terms of where we got introduced to Compère Lapin. Sorry, I'm sorry. Pronunciation is very good.
Yes. Brother Rabbit.
Brother Rabbit and all of them. And you started seeing that with Walt Disney and Uncle Remus and things like that through Walt. But it was just touching the surface, right? Scratching the surface. And that's how we were introduced to it at a young age. And so we took a lot of our cultural upbringing, even remotely, we were very akin to it because Dad made sure we knew where we come from and how proud we are to be part of this landscape.
And growing up, you guys left at about what age, you would say?
I would say 6 and 5.
6 and 5. So you're very, very young, very impressionable. Memories, you actually remember that period of time?
Well, Heather Walcott
Did they bring you to Carnival? I mean, what was the experience like? Yeah.
Well, we always knew Daddy for the Turks band for sure, as the Turks leader of the band. But we also had the opportunity to be around Teacher Alex as our grandmother. And she very much influenced actually Carrie in her love of sewing.
Okay.
All right. So
yes.
And then we came also into Dad and his plays and the rehearsals at Town Hall and Rat Island and at the home. And that was way before we even left St. Lucia. And again, Mom was always supportive of that environment. And then when we were in Toronto in the early 70s, Daddy really started to paint.
A lot
paint,
more.
paint. Yes.
That's really interesting indeed. Many St. Lucians know the house now, the Walcott House on the Chaussee Road, and they've got this, idea. This is, where Derek Walcott, Roddy Walcott lived. But you actually lived there in your childhood at some point.
For a few years. Then we moved.
And then you moved, yeah.
Yeah, and then we moved, I think it was to Pave, and then eventually Rock Hall, and then, and that was the last.
Canada.
Then we left for Canada. So that part of town, we were very much always in the neighborhood.
Right.
Right. So, but I do remember early days where Dad would have everybody together, and we'd be at Rat Island for a week, and Dad would always have his rehearsals there, just to change the venue.
I suppose as children you remember those fun
I do
times, right?
remember.
Going in the boats, going on
that
the beach.
huge ackee tree on the top of the hill, and that was huge. And then of course Town Hall. We knew as very, very young kids that once it was a dress rehearsal or something, there was no running around. We knew how to sit quietly at a very, very young age. There was time to play around, and whether it was somebody like Bam Charles playing the piano or anyone there who came with just to do a musical rehearsal as well, we were always fascinated how everything came together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess my love for musicals and my love for fashion and my love for color came from Daddy.
Yeah.
Because I remember even in high school or grade school when Dad used to, draw the costumes for Benjamin and Chanson Marianne, and then so it's we were always assimilated with a St. Lucia centric way of how Dad approached his work creatively. So that really helped me now. I mean, all my musical appreciation came from Daddy. And we're talking, Hollywood musicals. I mean, and Daddy's plays were the epics.
The launching pad, yeah.
Really of my love for that. So knock on wood for that experience. Yes.
How important at that time was the village for you in terms of your upbringing? And I'm asking that, of course, because I'm imagining even though you may have been brought into, let's say, the city hall, the town hall at the time. There were so many people around. There were so many influences, and I'm even thinking about your dad himself, Derek and Roddy losing their father. I think at the age of 1. It was other friends of his who assisted in terms of teaching the painting. I think the likes of Harold Simmons.
Yes.
So that idea of the village in your upbringing was that very present? You'd say.
I think we always grew up with knowing Dad's friends. It wasn't, this is work, this is play, separate. No, we knew their children. We became friends, very close with, whether it was Kenneth Monplaisy and his daughters, or Jake's.
Barbara, okay.
Barbara, exactly.
Okay.
So the names weren't foreign. We knew them as kids. We may not have remembered all, but once we knew who their dad was, we knew there was an affinity for that sort of thing.
And then we went to the convent with them.
And then as we got older and returned to St. Lucia for a few years, we saw them much older, and that friendship just blossomed or even strengthened. And some of them were still very good friends up to as we grew up, and still are. So it's not only the kids, it's not just the parents, but the kids become part of that network, that village. Like, we knew each other. You can leave your children with somebody else. They can leave them with you. They know they're going to be fed, taken care of, not neglected. There was a commonality. There's a friendship. There's a family unit at all times. I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but when we were growing up, we could stay with anybody that were my friends of my parents, and that was leave them there for even have to stay overnight. We had no problem with that. We were always, and vice versa. It was never one-sided. It was always a community-based caring for each other.
I think in Daddy's environment too, we talk of a pre-Canada Roddy environment, but we also have to look at the fact that Daddy was the first director of culture for St. Lucia. Right. And
so this is the return that you were just mentioning
yes,
in the 70s, I think. Yeah.
Yes. 77 to 80.
Yeah.
And that alone allowed us to really see the range of Dad's cultural knowledge or catalyst in how he put forth a lot of the cultural elements that the CDF might expand upon or be a whole, a whole landmark now for. But Daddy ran the show, at the time. And that's another facet of my father that I'll always value, is the fact that here's Roddy pre-Canada, being part of the Arts Guild and the Turks and everything, and his return in the mid-'70s for 3 years as Director of Culture, and now he's taken on so much more, plus doing his plays.
And of course, at that point, you guys were a lot more aware, being as teenagers, participating, getting more involved at that point.
I think we got more involved once the independence celebration, because all the schools were doing something.
Yeah.
Right.
But we were a part of it regardless, because we wanted to participate because the energy was there already at home. You know what I mean? We have to do something individually, whether it's because this was huge.
Yeah.
And to be part of that, not just the hum and buzz of everything, it was a major celebration. And
Yeah.
it was wonderful just being part of a country that just became independent.
Right.
And I look forward to, God willing, I look forward to when we're 50 years or even 47 or 48, 49, whatever. Each year I would love to come, but I look forward to the 50th. There's a lot to celebrate,
Going back a little bit, because right now, I mean, Carnival is huge in St. Lucia. I mean, in terms of, we're hearing about the numbers, record numbers growing every year, the thousands of people who are coming to St. Lucia for it. And you've got to think back to, the 1950s and then your dad.
Yeah.
He was a significant catalyst in making it all happen in what we're enjoying today.
Definitely.
I didn't realize that we heard stories of, the earliest story we heard with Dad being part of Carnival was him being among a group of people that actually went to Trinidad and brought back steel containers to help make the steel pan. Who can speak of that is probably Sikra. He can probably speak of that.
Okay.
And a few other people of his
Well, this is
contemporaries.
Sikra's space, right?
Yeah,
RCI.
I realize that, but power to him. I hope he's doing well.
Yes.
But apart from that, it was just from, we're going to get. We're not organized as a country recognizing Carnival. It may not be as grand as Brazil or Trinidad now, but we will get there. I understood just recently, last maybe month or so, that he was not only created the band, but he also helped organize it, in a more methodical way, so everyone has their chance, or everybody, and it got to the point that after winning so many times, year after year, as a Turks band leader, there were other people who embrace the celebration even more, so that in itself is quite a legacy. I mean, it's okay to have a parent who's part of this and a legacy and all that, but when you start understanding, oh my God, my father did all this, in the years that he had, it's like, am I doing enough to recognize St. Lucia as his, not just as his children, but just as a person, as a solution, and there's a lot that we have, and there's a lot the world doesn't know yet. Whether we're chefs, whether we're economists, whether we're wonderful with this, that, and the other. There's a lot.
He really loved St. Lucia, and he really loved, identity. I could say as well, perhaps he found love in Carnival as well. I think your mom was a Carnival queen.
Yes.
Stole his heart away.
Speak of that. That's forbidden.
Don't speak about it. Oh, my. Apologies.
I'll tell you the year off record. Yeah. I'll tell you the year, but yeah.
Right, indeed.
That's when they met.
They met through that.
Right.
That.
Yeah,
yes.
for sure.
Wonderful. And that whole period, I mean, it's not like, now I suppose when, you're talking about great prizes and cars and things being given away, a lot of it was really being done gratis. This is just pure passion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. And even when I said to Mom, what kind of prizes were given, at that time. And she says, "Oh, what did Mom tell us?"
I think she got a week in Barbados.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, I don't want to say if that's a good prize, but
And she learned shorthand and
Okay.
all that.
There are a few
They
things
sent some courses.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Nice
right.
prize, and I said,
yeah.
"Okay, no car."
Yeah, I suppose in those days everything was close, maybe. But
Yeah.
this journey, of course, because a lot of St. Lucians, we hear about our Nobel Prize winners, and so of course
Yes.
Arthur Lewis, Derek Walcott, but we quite often don't understand that within the Derek Walcott there is that Roderick Walcott element in it, which is, yes, Derek went global, but the individual who really grounded the culture right here in St. Lucia was your dad, Roderick.
Yes, Mom agrees. Absolutely. Mom, we hear this a lot, and we're very proud of that legacy. Because let's be honest, I mean, the very first productions of Uncle Derek's work were by Dad. When Uncle Derek had to go to Mona in Jamaica to study, Dad, produced
He held it down.
He
He
held
was
it
an-
down.
Yeah.
The Art Guild,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and the first
Yeah.
productions were about Uncle Derek's plays. And then, of course, it broadened into other notable works, Shakespeare and the like. But there was definitely that interpretation of his work with Uncle Derek's approval, of course, because they understood each other very well, not just as twins, but as brothers, and they
Right.
supported each other tremendously. But yeah,
And-
first production of any of Uncle Derek's work was at the town hall.
Right. And they both, of course, explored St. Lucian culture, history in telling the stories. But I think, many St. Lucians, when they think about what they hear about culture, and everybody knows the Banjo Man.
Yeah,
And that was him. That was his work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I remember being at the John Legend concert for Jazz 2025, and John Legend opened the show with the Banjo Man.
Wow.
And the amount of goosebumps I felt in just being in the audience, I just looked up in the stars. I said, "Oh, Daddy, I wish you were here."
Right.
Yeah.
But for John Legend to play that,
Mm-hmm.
and I said to myself, okay, it's time to honor Dad as a cultural icon. It's time to bring his work, showcase his work, and be part of the celebration of his achievements. It's time. It's just time.
Did he talk much of, I know he passed in 2000.
Correct.
And so, of course, things may not have been as grand as they are now, maybe. But did he speak about his thoughts about, how things had evolved?
I know when he got the MNC Recognition Award, I don't know if it was 2018 or it was 1998 or 1999. Forgive me, I don't know the year. But he was very proud. We came down, he couldn't travel by then, but he was very proud of that achievement. But Dad was very modest. I mean, even now there are plays I haven't even read yet. Life gets in the way, but it's the same amount of time in a day. You make the time. Everything you want to learn or share with others, you make the time. And the things you invest your time in are the things that matter to you, right? But there's a lot of Dad's work I've yet to discover. And I have it within my grasp at home. And, that's an embarrassment which I hope to improve, work towards on a personal venture. But he was very modest. You wouldn't know what he did in terms of helping motivate the creative aspect of what we have to offer as a nation.
And of course, you hear individuals today, the playwrights of today, like Kendall Hippolyte, for example, speaking about how deliberate he was although he was teaching, he was putting on a play, but at the same time he was teaching, he was mentoring, he was passing on knowledge very deliberately, doing that and thinking, well, it's going to catch somehow and somebody else is going to pass it on.
I remember in college when I did a film course, and that was semi up Daddy's alley, and I had to write a script, and Daddy said, "Really love to see what you wrote." And when he looked at the script, he says, "You really have potential, girl. You really have potential." And I'm saying to myself, wow, I never went that direction in the visual arts. Now I'm more creatively, with other projects. But it meant a lot to me hearing it from Daddy because
Mm-hmm.
I realized his worth as an artist and how much of an impact he had, as a St. Lucian icons in my own words. But just hearing that from him meant a lot,
Of course, we're at a point where we've got to kind of wrap up sooner.
Yes.
By the way, because I realize time is fleeting. We're at a point right now where we're hearing a lot about culture. A lot of people are embracing, whether it's through jazz, through carnival, and that expression. And he was doing some of these remarkably large festivals back in the 70s.
We heard that.
And I'm thinking, the idea, for example, putting on an annual festival of plays, it's not enough just to do one play. You want to do a whole month of plays.
Why not, Calix?
I mean,
Why
that's
not?
really, really, taking it to the next level,
Yes.
When I hear about stories like that, what I like the best about it is wasn't that just focused on his own work or Uncle Derek's.
Yeah.
He broadened the spectrum.
And he inspired so many people as a mentor. Yes.
Yeah, he broadened the spectrum so not only St. Lucian artists could be more aware of other works. He didn't just keep it with a myopic kind of view. He made sure sadly, Jakes is not with us and a few of the people whose contemporaries have passed, but there definitely was an influence with other works that he shared that too. And of course he directed a lot of these plays of more international renown, but he was definitely there to not only introduce the world to different work, but also to see how something as common as fear and anger and love were in so many of these works, and how we can, interpret it in terms of our own culture.
And it's important to note that 2030 is their 100th
100th anniversary.
of the twins.
Born on January the 23rd, 1930.
Yes.
I know.
So it's going to be 100 years.
That's some party time, boy.
I mean, and it's been 25 years since he's passed.
Yeah.
How do you see the next couple of years moving forward in terms of what would you like to see? I mean, we've seen many efforts, the Walcott House, we've heard about Rat Island Foundation, we've heard about lots of grand ideas. Unfortunately, a lot of them have not, taken form. I imagine you definitely want to see that happen in the lead up to their 100th anniversary.
Well, not just that, but a year before that is St. Lucia's 50th anniversary. So
Yes,
for
of
maybe
independence.
2 consecutive years, we have 2 reasons to celebrate even more. I mean, outside of track and field, that's another celebration right there. 2 monumental areas of culture within our
Yes.
own self. We have a lot to be proud of. So moving towards those 2 things alone should keep us busy while we celebrate all our other victories annually.
Right.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? We have a lot to be thankful for on such a small island.
So
Indeed.
showcasing Dad's achievements now in lieu of 2030 100th is really important, especially with the young generation now, not in tune with Daddy's work per se. So we'd like to see more traction on
Exposing that, biographies, maybe a movie about the
Hopefully,
Walcotts.
whatever works.
A
Yeah.
movie about the Walcotts, thank you.
No.
Hope it's not Dallas or something.
Well, that was a great series, so you never know. Yeah.
We're dating ourselves.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of making it popular, in terms of definitely bringing it to the average St. Lucian, and of course to the average Caribbean person here in the Caribbean and the world, definitely. Yeah.
And even some of his earlier works like Shrove Tuesday and all that can have a contemporary theme. Because the trilogy itself, whether it's, the education of, all the educational books and not the 3 trilogy, the original 3, those can be morphed into a more contemporary theme,
And theatre arts is now taught in schools. I mean, it wasn't
That's
in our
brilliant.
times, but it's actually there now.
Yeah.
And you have the material to actually take it forward. now,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah, that's what
Thank
we're
you
hoping
so much for this opportunity. My
It's
God.
certainly been a pleasure and an honor having you guys here, Carrie and Heather, and of course your mom, who's here giving you the moral support. Thank you so very, very much for being our guest here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean
Thank
International.
you very much. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
And of course, we'll be back tomorrow, God willing, for another program of the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International.